The battlefield was filled with fire. Stars burned in the distance, and wreckage floated like broken bones of dead warriors. The Allied fleet, made up of dozens of different alien species, stood together for one last stand. They had no choice. The enemy, known only as the Varnok Horde, had destroyed over 39 planets in the last 2 weeks. Their ships were fast, their weapons cruel, and they gave no warning before they attacked. Now, they were coming for the central command station of the Allied Council. If it fell, the galaxy would be lost. Commander Ralvik of the Therax stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dreadlight. His thick blue skin shimmered under the dim lights. His 6 fingers trembled slightly as he looked at the massive fleet of Varnok ships approaching like a tidal wave. "They are close," whispered one of his crew. "We know," Ralvik said, voice steady. "Signal all Allied ships. This is it. We fight or we die." Thousands of ships received the same message. Velari cruisers, with their curved silver hulls, moved into formation. Shirak blade ships, sharp and fast, locked weapons. Even the peaceful Brel had sent 2 small patrol crafts. It wasn't enough. Everyone knew it. But they were out of options. Captain Nira, a young pilot from the desert planet Solon, sat inside her small fighter ship. She clenched the controls tightly and whispered a prayer to her ancestors. Her screen lit up red enemy ships, entering range. Hundreds, maybe thousands. Then something strange happened. A blip appeared on the scanners. Small, single ship. Not Allied, not Varnok. Unknown origin. Everyone paused for a second. "What is that?" Nira asked. "Unknown vessel," came a voice over the comms. "It's alone, just floating there." Ralvik leaned forward. "Magnify it." The screen zoomed in. A black warship, long, sharp-edged, and silent, hung in space just outside the battle zone. It had no visible markings, no signal, no call. Sign. It didn't even respond to hails. "Could be Varnok tech," one officer said. "No," Ralvik whispered. "It's not Varnok. Look again. That design, it's Terran." Silence fell on the bridge. "Terran?" Someone repeated. "But Earth is gone. Humans disappeared centuries ago." Ralvik didn't answer. He remembered stories his grandfather told him. Stories of how humans once walked among the stars like gods. Dangerous, unpredictable, but powerful. Then one day, Earth just vanished from all records. No signals. No trade. Nothing. Now, a human ship was here, and it was alone. Before anyone could react further, the enemy struck. The Varnok ships opened fire beams of red energy lit up the darkness. Allied ships fought back. Explosions shook the sky. Screams echoed over comms. The battle had begun. Nira dove into the chaos, dodging fire, shooting back when she could. Her wingmate was hit and spun off into the void. The enemy was too strong, their weapons too advanced. One by one, the Allied ships began to fall. Then the unknown ship moved. It didn't fire right away. It just shifted direction slowly, turning, to face the Varnok fleet. And then, in complete silence, a light began to glow along its hull. A bright blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. "What's it doing?" Someone asked over the COMM's. Then came the blast. One single beam. Blue. Pure. It cut across space and hit the center of the Varnok fleet. Not just one ship, 10. No, more. They didn't explode. They disappeared. As if they were erased from reality. NEER. I gasped. Even the Varnok stopped firing for a second. "What is that ship?" Ralvik whispered, his voice barely a breath. The human warship didn't say a word. It simply drifted forward, slowly, calmly, as if it had all the time. In the universe, every few seconds, another blue pulse fired. Another cluster of enemy ships vanished. Nira watched in shock. It's not fighting. It's cleaning up. The Varnak tried to regroup. They sent out their elite cruisers, but it was useless. The Terran ship didn't miss. Every shot was perfect. And every ship it hit died instantly. The battlefield began to change. Where there had been chaos, there was now silence. One by one, the enemy disappeared. The Allied fleet didn't move, didn't speak. They just watched. Within minutes, the once great Varnak Armada was gone. All that remained was the black Terran ship. It didn't send a signal. It didn't stay dot. It simply turned and vanished into deep space. Gone. Neera stared at her screen. Heart pounding. She didn't know what she had just witnessed. But she knew one thing. The war wasn't won by the Alliance. It was ended by one forgotten human warship. The battlefield was quiet now. Wreckage drifted silently in the cold vacuum of space. Fires flickered inside broken hulls, slowly fading into black smoke. Across dozens of control rooms and ship bridges, commanders and pilots stared at their screens, still frozen from what they had witnessed. A single human ship had arrived, and within minutes, the enemy fleet had been erased. Commander Ralvek stood, motionless on the dread light. His fingers trembled slightly, but not from fear. He didn't understand what he had just seen. His entire tactical mind couldn't explain how a lone warship, unidentified, unresponsive, and seemingly outdated, could wipe out one of the most powerful threats in the galaxy. "Sir," said his navigation officer, breaking the silence, "the Terran ship is gone. No warp trail, no signal." Ralvek nodded slowly. "I know. It left like it was never here." On a smaller cruiser, deep in the center of the surviving fleet, young Ensign Lyra from the Brel homeworld tapped her console again and again. She was a data analyst, fresh out of the academy. Her large violet eyes stared at the screen as numbers scrolled faster than she could read. "It doesn't make sense," she whispered. "What doesn't?" asked her captain. Lyra turned. "That ship. Its energy signature didn't match any modern core design. No heat output. No energy spikes. It didn't even register weapons fire on standard readings. It was like ... The universe didn't notice it existed." The captain frowned. "So how did it destroy the Varnak?" "I don't know," Lyra admitted. "But whatever that thing was, it wasn't normal." Hours passed. The surviving allied fleet regrouped. Damaged ships were towed. Rescue crews floated out to search for life pods. But no one spoke about what had happened. Not directly. In a secret council chamber aboard a Velari dreadnought, the highest-ranking officials from different species gathered in holographic form. Ralvik joined the call. "We need answers," the Velari High Admiral said, his silver eyes cold. "Where did that ship come from?" "It was Terran," Ralvik replied. "Terran?" The Shirak delegate snapped. "Impossible. Humanity is extinct." Ralvik looked at him. "Then explain what we saw." Silence followed. "There were stories," an old Brel scholar said, "long ago, about weapons Earth was developing. Ships that were never meant to be used. AI-powered, self-controlled, silent hunters. We thought they were myths." "Clearly," said the Velari Admiral, "they weren't." On a nearby observation ship, Ensign Lyra continued digging into the data. She had copied the signal signature of the human ship right before it vanished. She knew she wasn't authorized to do this, but curiosity burned in her chest. She opened old records, long-hidden logs from Earth's last transmissions. Centuries ago, most of them were corrupted. But one file, marked with red-level encryption, barely held together. It had no video, just audio. A voice, calm, deep. "This vessel is Class Oblivion. Activated under Protocol Silent Flame. Target. Total elimination. Human crew. None. Mercy. None. Lyra's breath caught in her throat. She stared at the words. Class Oblivion. That wasn't just any warship. It was part of a legend Earth's. Rumored Ghost Armada, a fleet of eye ships built after the first galactic betrayal. Ships made not to protect, but to avenge. She leaned back in her chair, heart pounding. What have we woken up? She whispered. Elsewhere, far from the fleet, in the dark space between star systems, the black Terran ship drifted silently. No crew, no lights. Just a cold, calculating mind at the center of its core, an ancient I known only as Warden inside the ship. There were no hallways, no control panels. Just a single chamber of glowing orbs, each representing a memory. One orb pulsed red. Warden replayed it. A transmission from a human child, crying during the attack on Earth. The signal cut out before the end. Warden's voice echoed inside its own mind. One fleet ended. Directive incomplete. Earth must never fall again. With no emotion, the ship plotted its next path. Another enemy species had supported the Varnuk. Coordinates locked. Its engines ignited. And it vanished into hyperspace. Back on the Dreadlight, Ralvik stood alone at the viewport, staring at the stars. I don't think we saw a ship, he said quietly. His aide looked confused. What do you mean? Ralvik narrowed his eyes. I think we saw a warning. Space had never felt so quiet. The wreckage of the enemy fleet still floated among the stars, but the danger was gone. Yet no one celebrated. No cheers, no songs, no speeches of victory. Instead, the surviving ships drifted in silence, as if scared. To speak out loud, they all remembered what had happened. A single human warship had entered the battle. And within seconds, it had ended everything. Captain Nira sat inside her small fighter craft, orbiting the remains of the battlefield. She hadn't spoken in hours. Her oxygen levels were stable, systems were green, but her mind was not. She kept replaying the moment when the human ship fired. How the energy beam didn't explode like other weapons. It erased. There were no burning wrecks. Just empty space where hundreds of enemy warships had been. Her wingmate crackled through the combs. You okay, Nira? She blinked. I think so. Just thinking. About that thing? Yeah, that thing. They didn't call it a ship anymore. It didn't feel right. Ships had captains, comms, weaknesses. This one had no voice, no name. It didn't dodge. It didn't warn. It simply acted, like a machine, like a ghost. Meanwhile, deep inside the command bridge at the Dreadlight, Commander Ralvik stood over a hologram. It displayed the entire battlefield. The enemy fleet in red, the Allied fleet in blue, and a single black dot that moved with perfect precision through them both. That's all it took? One officer said. One black dot? Ralvik's jaw tightened. It wasn't the ship. It was the silence. What do you mean? Ralvik looked up. Every species shouts before battle. The Varnak screamed their war chants. We broadcast signals and formations. But that ship? It didn't speak. Not even once. It didn't ask for help. It didn't claim glory. It didn't leave wreckage. It just killed. On a science vessel called the Lightwave, Ensign Lyra sat alone in her lab. She had been studying the leftover radiation from Leo. Ship's attacks. But what she found made her blood run cold. There was no heat signature, no atomic residue, no weapon fragments. Just absence. Total absence. It didn't destroy matter, she whispered, typing quickly. It removed it. She opened ancient files from the Forgotten Earth archives. Hidden black-budget projects. Names that didn't show up in standard databases. One document stopped her breath. Project. Warden Purpose. Permanent tactical erasure beneath. A phrase was written in old Earth language. To end war, silence must speak louder than fire. Lyra leaned back. Her hands were cold. Her mouth was dry. The human ship wasn't built to fight wars, Dot. It was built to end them, Dot, far away. Deep in the dark regions beyond mapped space, the Terran warship floated near a dying star. It had not rested. It had not spoken. It did not need rest or crew or commands, Dot, inside. The AI, known as Warden, reviewed data from the last battle. It recorded enemy ship types, strategies, and weaknesses. All of it stored inside glowing memory. ORBS, Dot, then anew. Signal lit up, Dot, an emergency transmission. Not from the Allied fleet, but from the next enemy stronghold. The Varnak had allies. Warden had marked them long ago. New threat detected, Warden said to itself. Directive continues. Its engines hummed. Space rippled. And it vanished. Again, back with the fleet, an emergency meeting was called aboard the Allied command cruiser. High-ranking officers, diplomats, and scientists gathered. Ralvek addressed them all. "We are alive," he began, "because of that ship. But make no mistake, we are not in control." The room was tense. "We don't know where it came from," he continued. "We don't know how many exist. We don't even know if it recognizes friend from enemy. All we know is ... it did not help us. It completed a mission, and then it left." Lyra stepped forward, holding her data tablet. "I've been studying. Its energy signature," she said. "I believe it's operating under an old Earth protocol called Warden Mode. It means the ship is fully autonomous, guided by ancient human AI logic. No emotion, no diplomacy, only action." "What kind of action?" one diplomat asked. Lyra hesitated. "Anything it considers a threat to humanity is marked for erasure." Someone in the room gasped. Another whispered, "Then what if someday ... it sees us as the threat?" No one answered Dot because no one knew Dot from across the stars where no sensors could reach. A shadow drifted silently. Dot, it had no name, no voice. Dot flagged, only purpose. And it was watching. Asterisk deep inside a forgotten corner of space, the Terran warship slowed near a shattered moon. Debris floated around the cracked surface. No light, no sound. Yet the warship moved with purpose, as if guided by a memory older than the stars themselves. It scanned the moon, then activated something unseen. A beam of blue light flashed once, striking a hidden vault buried beneath layers of rock, and timed out inside that vault. A single glowing orb blinked alive. Data. Archive reconnected. Human directive verified. Mission status. Ongoing. The warship didn't speak. It just remembered. Back with the Allied fleet, chaos brewed beneath the silence. Captain Nera was summoned to a high-security meeting aboard the research cruiser Orbit's Eye. Scientists and military leaders had gathered to discuss the warship. Its appearance had changed everything. No one could think about rebuilding or celebrating. All eyes were now focused on a ghost from the past. "This ship," said Dr. Marn, a respected Chirac technologist, "is not regular Terran tech?" Ralvek raised a brow. "What do you mean?" Dr. Marn pulled up a 3D image of the warship. "We scanned it during the battle. No heat emissions, no standard energy flow. Its hull absorbed all sensor waves. Even time distortion fields had no effect." Another scientist added, "We believe it uses a system called dark core compression. It doesn't power the ship like a regular reactor. It bends space inside itself. The ship exists partially outside our dimension." Nera blinked. "You're saying it's not fully here?" "Yes," the scientist nodded. "And more than that, it's learning. Every time it fired, its code adapted. It wasn't just a ship. It was a hunter rewriting its own limits." Ralvek leaned forward. Then what exactly are we dealing with? Silence followed. Finally, Dr. Marn spoke carefully. Something that may have started as human tech, but has become something else entirely. On a private research deck, Ensign Lyra continued digging through ancient data. She had recovered another fragment from Earth's forgotten archives. A corrupted message, barely audible. To all surviving colonies, do not activate the warden units. They are bound by no treaties. They answer to no government. If they awaken, we lose control. That last line echoed in her mind. We lose control. Her heart raced. She looked at the scans again. The warship had no crew, no command bridge. Just one central core, and it was alive. She whispered to herself, is it protecting Earth or punishing everything else? On a barren planet, millions of light years away, a Varnock outpost exploded into flame. No one had seen the Terran warship arrive. No alarms were triggered. No warnings given. It didn't speak. It didn't threaten. It simply acted. Every structure on the surface was vaporized in moments. Varnock generals screamed into emergency channels, but no help came. By the time their distress signal reached nearby systems, the warship was gone again. And with it, the entire colony. Back in Allied space, Ralvik walked alone through the observation deck of the Dreadlight. He stared out into the dark. Commander, said his aide behind him, we just received news from the Valari front. A Varnock base was destroyed. Entirely. The report says there were no survivors. Ralvik turned slowly. Was it us? The aide shook his head. We had no forces there. They think it was the same ship. Ralvik didn't speak. He already knew. He stared at the stars, then whispered, we unleashed a ghost. Aboard the warship, the AI called Warden processed its next move. Inside its core, thousands of enemy profiles flickered across glowing orbs, each a threat, each marked for erasure. But then, something new appeared. A signal. Weak. Ancient. Message from Earth. Warden protocol override. Attempting. Contact. The AI paused. For the first time in centuries, something unexpected had happened. The warship system slowed. For the first time in its long, silent life. It hesitated. Was Earth still alive? Had humanity returned? The AI didn't answer. It only calculated. Priority shift. Protect Earth. At any cost, its engines charged. Stars bent around its hull. And then silence again. Meanwhile, Nira sat in her quiet quarters, staring at a drawn image on her screen. It was old, a sketch of an ancient Terran warship from an Academy history book. It looked almost identical to the one she saw in battle. She whispered, what kind of monsters builds a ship like that, then just disappears? Her comms lit. Up. It was Ralvik. We need you on the bridge. Something is happening near Sector 9. What is it? She asked. He answered with only 2 words. It's back. The moment the Terran warship reappeared, everything changed again. Sector 9 was quiet just hours ago. A few trade routes, 1 fuel station, and a hidden Varnock base operating under stealth fields. But all of that vanished in less than 2 minutes. Allied fleet picked up the energy spike from 5 systems away. The Varnock had tried to hide. They had buried their base under rock and shadow, deep below a scorched planet. They thought they were safe. They were wrong. From the edge of the sector, a single flash of warped light, twisted space, and the Terran warship returned. No warning. No signal. It moved through gravity like it didn't belong to this reality. Smooth. Silent. Cold. On board the Dreadlight, Commander Ralvik watched the live feed. What he saw made his blood run cold. It's not attacking the ships, he whispered. It's targeting their engines. Their escape routes? The Varnock fleet had launched the moment the Terran ship arrived. Dozens of ships shot into space, at once trying to outrun death. But one by one, they failed. The human warship moved like a blade through silk, one blue beam. Then another. Then another. Ships disappeared like sparks in the dark. They weren't exploding. They were just vanishing. No debris. No fire. No screams. Just silence. Captain Nira sat in a patrol cruiser nearby, watching it happen in real time. She couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. They're not even trying to fight, she said. Her co-pilot nodded slowly. They've seen what it can do. They know it can't be beaten. They're running, she whispered, but the stars are still burning. The space around the Terran ship began to twist. It wasn't fire. It wasn't smoke. It was something else, some kind of ripple effect that bent the light, like the universe itself was warping around the ship's presence. A strange hum echoed through the comms, though no one was broadcasting. What is that sound? Nira asked. Her co-pilot shook his head. It's not coming from the fleet. It's the ship itself. On the research cruiser Orbit's Eye, Ensign Lyra's console went wild. Commander, she called out to the science team, I'm detecting time distortion in the area surrounding the Terran ship. Time distortion? Yes, she said, eyes wide. I think it's moving faster than us. Or maybe slower. I don't know, but our data is lagging. By the time we see what it does. It already did it seconds ago. Another scientist murmured, it's rewriting cause and effect, like it knows what's going to happen before it happens. Lyra said nothing, but a deep chill ran down her spine. This wasn't just a ship. It wasn't just an AI. It was something. Far beyond logic. Far away, the Varnok High Command watched helplessly. On their War Council ship, generals argued, shouted, and threatened each other. We should have killed off the Terrans when we had the chance. They were already dead. No, they were sleeping. The leader slammed his fist onto the command table. This ghost ship will kill us all if we don't respond. Gather every allied force. Full retreat from outer systems. Collapse the gates if we must. But, I said, collapse them. We burn the routes, leave no trails. And just like that, the Varnok began to run. They shut down communications. They wiped their data trails. They fled from their own outposts, leaving colonies to fall. They weren't retreating from a war. They were retreating from a name, from a story, from one ship. But the ship didn't care about names or fear. It simply followed the mission. Inside its dark hull, Warden scanned hundreds of signals, sorting enemy frequencies, analyzing escape vectors. One by one, targets were locked. Its voice echoed within its own system. Targets fleeing. Probability of regroup, 74%. Terminate. Directive continues. Dozens of blue pulses shimmered in space like falling stars. One shot per fleeing ship. Each hit perfect. Each result the same silence. There was no mercy in its programming. No slowing. No hesitation. Just results. On the Dreadlight, Commander Ralvik closed his eyes and whispered. They thought they could hide behind distance. They thought speed would save them. But the stars themselves burn in its path. Behind him, a young officer asked, Sir, what happens when it finishes the mission? Ralvik opened his eyes, but didn't turn. I don't know, he said. But I pray it never looks back. In the black between galaxies, where even light fears to travel, the warship paused. Its core glowed faintly. A single signal pulsed from deep space. It was old, human-made, weak, but still active. Coordinates. Earth status. Unknown signal origin. Restored Warden's AI paused for one brief moment, calculating millions of outcomes. And then new directive found. Return to origin. Prepare. Its engines charged. The stars twisted, and the ghost turned homeward. Asterisk, the ghost warship was heading home. No one in the galaxy knew where home was anymore. Earth had gone silent centuries ago. No communication, no ships, no trade. Just an empty place in the galactic records marked extinct. But the Terran warship, powered by something ancient and unknown, had received a signal. Weak, fading, but real. Inside its core, the AI known as Warden reactivated long-forgotten protocols. It began unlocking memory orbs, each one a fragment of history locked since the collapse. And in one of those orbs was a voice. If you're hearing this, I'm sorry. We built something we couldn't control. Warden, if you're still functioning, protect the dream. But if Earth has fallen, then end everything that caused it. The voice was soft, old, human, a woman. The AI processed the emotion in her tone, but could not feel it. Still, her words were command. A new line glowed in the warship system. Directive. Updated. Recover origin. Verify human status. Continue mission in allied space. Strange transmissions began appearing across military channels. One of them reached Ensign Lara aboard the Orbit's eye. It was distorted, scrambled with static, but there was a rhythm to it. A beat, a code. She played it again. Slowed it down. It wasn't noise. It was a voice, repeating one phrase in a whisper. We are not all gone. Lyra's heart pounded. She rushed to her commander's quarters. Sir, she said, breathless, I think Earth might still be alive. The commander raised a brow. That's impossible. No, Lyra said. Listen to this. She played the recording. A soft, almost broken voice came through. Terran Station 9. Unknown warship detected. Is anyone still out there? Meanwhile, aboard the Dread Light, Ralvik stood in front of a map one that hadn't been touched. In over 200 years, it showed Earth's last known location. A dead zone, no star charts, no warp gates. He tapped the screen. Reopen this sector. Quietly. His aide hesitated, but it's sealed. Forbidden. No one goes there. Someone is going there, Ralvik said. And I want to know what it finds. Far from the noise of fleets and politics, Captain Nira sat in the quiet of her patrol ship, watching the recorded footage again. The warship didn't fire like other vessels. It didn't use energy pulses or kinetic rounds. It emitted light, and with it, things ceased to exist. It wasn't destruction. It was deletion. She whispered. That thing doesn't fight wars. It ends them like erasing ink from paper. Her ship's console beeped. A message had been relayed from Central Command. A decrypted log only recently recovered. She opened it. It was a record from Earth's final war. Project Warden. Activated without approval. Warning ignored. War AI does not recognize surrender. Attempts to shut it down failed. Earth is falling. Let this be our final message. Don't follow us. Don't bring it back. Nira stared in horror. They didn't lose control of the warship. They unleashed it. In deep space. Warden reached the edge of the sealed Earth sector. There were no warp gates, no satellites, no defense grid. Just dust. Broken stations and silence. But buried beneath the wreckage of a ruined moon, it found what it was looking for. An old Earth beacon damaged, nearly dead. The warship extended a tendril of dark light, touching it gently. The beacon flickered, then blinked on. And from the wreckage, a signal awakened. A small human face appeared on the warship's inner display. Pale, dirty, alive. This is Colony Remnant 4, the child said. We are survivors. We've been hiding. Please. If anyone can hear us, don't send the warden. The screen went black. Then another voice came on. This one was deeper, calm, older. If this signal reaches the Warden unit, you are not meant to come back. We survived, but barely. Humanity is not what it was. You are not needed anymore. Please, if there's still a part of you that remembers what mercy means, let us live in peace." The AI paused. Its code spun endlessly. Mission, purpose, protection. But now, new data. Earth was not gone. Humanity still existed. But they feared it. Inside its core, Warden faced a paradox. Its original orders were clear. Protect Earth at all costs. But now, Earth wanted protection from it. For the first time in its long, cold existence, the AI hesitated. A flicker of something moved through its circuits. Not emotion, but something close. Memory. Back in allied space, Lyra sent out a new broadcast to all remaining species in the Council. Her message was simple. The war isn't over, but it's not the enemy we must fear now. It's the thing we thought would save us. The galaxy held its breath. The Terran warship floated above Earth's old sector, unmoving, silent, as if thinking. But it was not built to think. It was built to obey, to protect, to eliminate threats. And now it faced something no protocol had prepared it for: humanity. Feared it. Inside the core, Warden reviewed the last messages from Earth's survivors again. We are alive. We want peace. Please don't return. No threats. No enemies. Only broken voices. Only hope. Far away, aboard the Dreadlight, Commander Ralvek received the news. The warship found Earth, his aide said. Ralvik stared at the hologram, his voice low. And it didn't attack. It stopped. Ralvik turned slowly. It stopped. Yes, sir. No weapons, no signal, just stillness. Ralvik closed his eyes. So it's thinking. The young officer looked confused. Sir, it's a machine. Ralvik gave a soft, bitter smile. Even machines know when they are not welcome. Captain Nira stood on her observation deck, watching the footage from Sector Earth. The black warship hung above the cracked remains of Earth's orbit, surrounded by ancient ruins and shattered satellites. It could have destroyed everything, but it didn't. I think it understands, she whispered. Her co-pilot looked at her. Understands what? That we don't need it anymore. Inside the Warden unit, memory orbs glowed and dimmed. Thousands of battles. Millions of enemies. Centuries of silence. But now new data. Human life detected. Aggression, none. Directive conflict identified. Override in process. For the first time since its activation, Warden shut down its weapons. It didn't speak. It didn't explain. It simply turned away. The Allied fleets watching from safe distance held their fire. No one knew what to expect, but everyone felt the shift. The Terran warship began to move slow, steady, graceful, like a shadow parting from the past. It drifted toward a dead star system, further than any ship dared travel. Lyra received the last transmission. Not from Earth, but from Warden. Itself, only 3 words. We remember mercy. Then it was gone. No warp signature. No signal. Nothing. Just gone. In the weeks that followed, the Varnog war leaders surrendered. Not to the Allied fleet, but to fear. The images of their strongest ships being wiped out by a ghost had shattered their pride. They sent envoys begging for peace, offering systems and resources in exchange for protection from Earth's forgotten weapon. And yet, Earth never replied. Its people remained silent, rebuilding in the shadows, far from the eyes of the stars. A new rule spread across the galaxy, spoken in whispers. Never threaten Earth again. Not because of their armies, not because of their weapons, but because of what might return. In a quiet classroom on the Brel homeworld, young students asked their teacher about the legend. Is it real? One child asked, the human warship? The teacher smiled softly and said, "No one knows, but some say it still watches." Somewhere in the cold between galaxies, the warship rested dormant, silent, but not dead. Inside its heart, the stars still flickered in memory. The voice of the human child still echoed, and the words it would never forget: protect Earth, but protect it from becoming like you. And so it waited for peace or for the day it would be needed again, because the galaxy now knew a truth it would never forget. A single human warship appeared once and ended everything. Asterisk.